Welcome back to Total Shock Fiction. I am your host, N. Pandit Cole, and this is my review for Wolfman 2025. So, Wolfman 2025. How was it? Was it good? Did it suck? This is not a spoiler-free review, so if you haven't seen the movie, don't watch this, because I'm going to spoil the whole movie. Wolfman is my favorite Universal monster. I've never even... This is sacrilegious, I know. I'm a horror... Not only do I write horror, I'm a horror fanatic. I've studied the history and evolution of horror cinema. I have never watched the original Frankenstein or the original Dracula. I've never watched either. Only Wolfman, a million times. I only fuck with Wolfman. I've never watched the original Dracula. Of course, I've seen Coppola's Dracula, all the other vampire movies, but I haven't watched the original fucking Dracula or Frankenstein, bro. Bela Lugosi, I'm sorry. Boris Karloff, I'm sorry. I haven't watched The Mummy either, or the original Invisible Man. The Universal monsters are iconic, of course. Horror in the 30s and 40s, those were the movies everyone went to go see. Like, little kids went to go see those, and people were terrified. You feel me? Like, you might think this shit looks corny now, but like, no, nigga. Motherfuckers was scared of Frankenstein. Niggas were scared of Dracula. So, Wolfman has always been my favorite movie monster. Yeah, so Wolfman has always been my favorite movie monster. I loved werewolves always more than vampires. I remember I was Wolfman one year in elementary school for Halloween. I got like some knit gloves and I cut the fingers off and we got like werewolf fur and we glued them to the fur. I had a flannel similar to the one I'm wearing right now, and a werewolf mask. Used to scare my little sister with it. Yeah, I've always loved werewolves. I wrote a trilogy of books called the Werewolf Man Trilogy, which is available on Amazon. Just search my author pen name, N. Pandit Cole, E-N, Pandit, P-A-N-D-I-T, Cole, C-O-L-E. So let's just say, yeah, I love Wolfman. I mean, I even ripped it off and wrote my own book trilogy called the Werewolf Man Trilogy. So I wasn't even planning on going to see Wolfman. I hate Blumhouse. I think all they've done is streamline horror to the mainstream by way of Jason Blum and James Wan teaming up, making a bunch of, you know, super safe horror little flicks. I wouldn't even call them, they're just, you know what I'm talking about. Blumhouse movies are for general viewers. They're for general viewers to sit down, get a little jump scare here and there, feel like they've seen a horror movie. It's not real horror. The horror I grew up watching, Rob Zombie, fucking the classic 80s slasher movies, all this remake, trying to recycle new age slasher bullshit, it's all garbage. It's all fucking trash. Scream 6 was cool, but overall, garbage, trash, horror is dead, everything's dead. Anime's dead. But, you know, every once in a while, I'm not a complete pessimist, every once in a while, something good does come out. I remember back even in middle school, I was tracking the production of the Wolfman remake. And it actually impresses me when I reflect back on how much research I was actively doing and how much shit I was actively watching, even from like age 11 up. Like from age 11 up, once I had access to a computer, like I'm watching everything. I'm watching everything, doing research, studying. So like I was tracking the production of Wolfman, the remake, the 2010 remake of Wolfman starring Benicio del Toro. I don't believe that Wolfman, that was prior, I think, to Dark Universe, right? Because Dark Universe, I believe, was, and for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, Universal attempted to create a new universe once the whole Avengers thing took off. They wanted to do their own universe of Universal monsters. They were going to create, you know, an installment of each one and create the quote-unquote Dark Universe. It was a universe that was doomed to fail. Dracula Untold, I never even tried to watch that garbage. It looked like they tried to turn Dracula into some kind of vampire Batman superhero. I didn't even try to watch that. The Mummy with Tom Cruise was also a flop. they forgot to put music in the trailer, so you just had Tom Cruise screaming with no sound effects in the background. That movie flopped. Never tried to watch it. Actually, I think I did try to watch it, and it was boring as fuck. What else did they do? They did both of those. There was a couple Frankenstein movies. I remember they did a Frankenstein movie with Harry Potter and James McAvoy. I don't even know if that was part of that or not, or if that was just a Frankenstein, rip-off movie or whatever. But basically, all attempts to create this dark universe failed. However, prior to that, they did a remake of Wolfman in 2010. I was tracking production. The production got pushed back because, I had to make sure I was recording. The production got pushed back because they decided to, what was it? It was like, there was some issue with, they filmed it where he was running on 2 legs, and I think they decided to add him running on 4 legs, or it was the other way around, I think. I think they started with him running on 4 legs and had to redo it so he's running on 2 legs. It was something to do with the way he was running and if he was going to run on 2 or 4 legs. So production got pushed back. It eventually came out. I went and seen it in theaters. Loved it. I still think it definitely stands up. Something I've noticed with movies in general that I was thinking about recently is how we don't get to sit with movies anymore. We don't get to appreciate them. Back in the old days, back in the old days, a movie would come out in theaters, you'd go see it, or maybe you didn't get a chance to see it, so you had to wait for it to come out on DVD, but you'd go see it. You would wait for it to come out on video or on DVD, once we had DVDs, and then once you get the VHS or the DVD, you just watch it a million times. Becomes one of your favorite movies. Now, there's so much shit to watch between social media, podcasts, streaming, and it comes out so quick from theater to fucking streaming, you don't get a chance to sit with it. You watch it in theaters, it hits streaming, you try to watch it again, you don't have the attention span for it, and then you're like, it's not even that good. You don't even like it. Probably never watch it again, or maybe like way later you might try to revisit it. We don't get to sit with movies anymore. We don't get to sit and just appreciate them. So we'll see in the future if I think it's as good as my theater experience was. But I went and seen it on MLK Day. I did a short about it from the theater. I think it was great. I think it was dope. It's having mixed reviews. It was beat out by One of Them Days, a movie that was starring Keke Palmer and the music artist SZA, produced by Issa Rae. It was kind of like a rehash of Friday, but with 2 girls instead of Craig and Smokey. I thought it was good. I liked it. I went and seen that as well. And I had a good experience watching that movie, so that's why the next day I was like, fuck it, I'm going to go see Wolfman. Plus, I'm a diehard Wolfman fan, so I had to go see it. But the original Wolfman, going into Wolfman 2025, having seen the trailer and the transformation sequence teaser that was released, I was like, well, he doesn't even look like fucking Wolfman. He just looks like some mutant freak. So I was kind of iffy on that. I loved the decisions they made for this movie. Wolfman 2010 already updated the classic Wolfman. The gothic horror Wolfman back in the 1800s looks like the original, CGI and practical. They already did that. So if they would have did this again, it wouldn't have been new and refreshing, which this movie was. I also want to say that this Wolfman 2025 that we just got, it seems like because this movie's been again, I've been tracking this movie since the fucking last remake. This Wolfman remake has been in talks for 8 to fucking 10 years, maybe it's 6 years, but it's been for a long time. It was originally supposed to be Ryan Gosling was supposed to be the new Wolfman. They were going to do this new Wolfman movie. I don't remember if this was supposed to be part of the Dark Universe or not. It never came to be. It remained in development hell. Ryan Gosling, I believe, remained a producer on this film. But this went in a totally different direction. The director of this new Wolfman 2025, I don't remember his name. He is the same guy who made the Invisible Man remake, which is the only successful Universal Monster remake. It got a lot of praise. I've never watched it. I do want to check it out, especially now after seeing Wolfman 2025. It was the only successful Universal Monster remake they've done, so I think it was a smart decision to bring this guy back and let him do Wolfman. I definitely enjoyed this movie thoroughly. It was new. It was refreshing. The opening sequence in the woods with the main character and his dad, but it's like it starts when the main character is a kid and then it just jumps 30 years into the future. Great opening fucking sequence. The way they shot the woods, the way they create the tension, the way you don't see the Wolfman, everything about it, the atmosphere, it was great. It was great. I was locked in. I love the fact usually when they don't show the monster, I don't like that because I'm like, I want to see the monster. But this movie showed you how when you don't see something, your mind fills it in for you and it makes it even fucking better than anything they could have showed you. So even though, you know, I might have a different image in my mind of what the Wolfman should look like, because they didn't actually show him, I was able to create my own Wolfman in my mind. And I liked what they were doing as well. So that aspect, that opening sequence, and the dad of the main character's dad, he was like military. The son had to say yes sir, no sir, make his bed as soon as he woke up. At one point he runs off on his own. His dad runs up to him. He's screaming. He's like, "What are you doing? Why did you run off on your own? You gotta listen to me." They show you this kind of traumatic childhood and the relationship between him and his dad, which plays into the subtext of the film, which is something that original classic horror films all had. A subtext that was metaphorical, but not so blatantly just obvious. In new horror movies, yes, they always have a subtext. Well, this is really about mental health, but it's so obvious, it's stupid. In the classic movies, it would be more subtle, but it would be a strong subtext of what the movie's really about. So they drilled this in to the opening sequence of the movie and established it right away. This is a movie about the passing on of family trauma. Everybody's talking about trauma. Everybody's talking about shadow work. This is a very relevant film. Very fucking relevant. So another reason I went to see it is the wife is played by Julia Garner, who played Ruth in Ozark. I loved her character in Ozark. I loved fucking Ozark. One complaint I will say is they did not write her character. They kind of underwrote her character. I'd say that's something I've seen critics were saying. Not necessarily about her, but they said the dialogue was weak, and I think her dialogue was weak. Not because of her acting, because she's a great actress. I think they just underwrote her because they were focusing more on the male protagonist, the husband, and the whole Wolfman thing, and his relationship with the daughter, which they spent a lot of time on initially in the early part of the film and throughout the film in different, parts of the movie. But I think they underwrote the wife. I think she didn't have a lot of strong dialogue. One minorish kind of plot hole is once he gets infected by the existing Wolfman, she's on the radio saying, "An animal attacked us. I think it's infected. I think it infected my husband and he's infected now." And I don't necessarily think there was enough context based on what they had witnessed themselves for her to necessarily draw those conclusions. Maybe I'm just overthinking it and maybe there was, but I don't know if she necessarily wouldn't like put two and two together in that kind of a high stress situation like, oh, it's a werewolf and it infected him and he's infected now. I think it'd kind of be like, well, just what the fuck's going on? Like, now he's sick. There's a monster trying to get us. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking that. That was just one thing that I was kind of like, was there enough context for her to draw those conclusions? That's just a question I pose. Let's go back, though. So once it does the 30-year jump, it goes to a scene where the husband and the daughter are walking down the street and they're just like having, a regular day. They're getting ice cream. I think he's holding a big stuffed animal he got for her. It's mirroring the opening scene of him and his dad in the woods. You see initially, he's a very loving, caring dad. You can tell, okay, he definitely didn't want to be like his own father with his child, with his daughter. But then the daughter runs off on her own and some like homeless motherfucker goes, "You better get off the motherfucking leash." I love that part. I love that part. That shit was funny as fuck. He goes, "You better get off the motherfucking leash," and he's like, "Hey, nigga, back up off my motherfucking daughter, nigga." It was cool, and I really like how this film was shot. The director, he's a very good director, and that's the thing. A good director will make a movie like 10 times better. You know what I'm saying? Even if there's aspects where it's underwritten or this or that, if the directing is really strong, it'll be great. I'm gonna do a review also for American Primeval, the new series on Netflix. The director on that, insane, bro. Insane. The directing on that show, you can't even rip your eyes away from the screen. So similar with this, it had very strong directing, very strong cinematography. It looked great. It looked amazing. It was up in the wilderness of Oregon in the super backwoods. I mean, so far into the woods, no cell reception. Like, no one lives out here. You can't even find where to go. Like, this is where Little Red Riding Hood and the fucking Three Bears are at. Like, this shit is out in the fucking sticks. And I'm from the backwoods, and I was like, damn, this is the for real sticks. Like, oh shit. That's where fucking Wolfman should be. I loved the location on this one. I loved where they set it. Pacific Northwest. Shit gets weird. It was great. So when the daughter, runs off on her own and then the homeless guy runs up on her, the dad ends up yelling at the daughter and like yelling at her and kind of screaming at her and like freaking out, getting triggered, going to his trauma response. He tells her, "I'm sorry, da, da, da." He has this little game he plays where he tells her to read his mind and she puts her hand on his forehead and, she says, "You love your little girl." And he says, "How did you know? You read my mind." So that stuff was it. What it did was it established character. It established character, emotional stakes. You care about the dad and the daughter and their relationship, and it established that very strongly, which most movies nowadays, they do no character development. They just jump in. They jump in, just start having stuff happen for no fucking reason out of nowhere. So this movie didn't do that. It established the characters. Basically, the relationship between their family dynamic is the dad is a writer. He's between projects. He's being stay-at-home dad. The wife, Julie Garner's character, she is a journalist and she works all the time. She never sees the daughter. So she feels very disconnected from their family unit. She feels very isolated from their family unit. She feels like her and the daughter definitely don't have the same kind of strong connection that her and the daughter and the dad have, the husband, which she is kind of envious about, but also sad. So there's some friction there. The husband gets a letter. His dad was missing. The state of Oregon has determined that he's dead. So he's been sent like the keys to the house to go pack up his dad's property out in these woods up in up in fucking Oregon. I think they were in New York or Chicago or some big city like that. And so he tells the wife, he comes and sees her at work and he's like, I think we should just all go up there, pack up the house, stay up there for the summer, boom. So typical horror movie setup, family driving out to pack up the old spooky house, right? Okay. They get out there, it gets into the woods, they get fucking lost. They end up picking up this guy. There's these, they call them deer barns, I think, and they're these high up little, it's just like a little 4-wall little tower you can climb up to hunt deers out of. And it was used in the opening sequence with the main character and his dad in the flashback. They had this deer barn thing. So when they pull up to a property, they see, and the daughter's like, "There's a guy in there." And it turns out, oh, this was another part. At the beginning, they showed the main character when he was still a kid in the flashback. He went downstairs and the dad was saying, "I know that thing's out there. Don't you want your boy to be safe?" And he's talking to like another guy that lives in the area, like, you know what I'm saying? So this is the guy his dad was talking to on the two-way radio. This is that guy's son now. And he's like, "Oh, you don't remember me? I'm Derek." This guy's super fucking creepy. He just says, "Oh, I'll show you guys how to find you," because they're lost. He says, "I'll show you guys how to find your dad's property." At first he tries to climb into the back seat with the little daughter, and the mom's like, "Oh, no. I'll sit back there with her. You get in the front." But she didn't even want him to like get in the car with them. So he gets in the moving truck with them. They're fucking riding through. He's hella creepy. He's saying creepy shit. He's acting creepy. He's hella weird. Just weird as fuck. Tension. They're riding on the road. Wolfman walks out in front of the fucking car. They fucking turn, bro. This shit, the truck goes down through all the fucking trees and gets suspended off the ground in the fucking trees. That part was crazy. Everyone in theater, we were like, oh shit. Like it was, that part was dope as fuck. The guy they picked up, he drops down out of the passenger seat. The Wolfman just grabs this nigga, mauls him, and drags him off. They have to climb out of the truck, and basically, it just kicks off from here. This is the starting off point. From here, there's an existing Wolfman in the woods. They climb out of the truck. They have to get back. They have to find the husband's dad's house, which they find and get to. The Wolfman's already chasing them, but you don't really see it. They get in the house, and then as the movie goes on, the husband, he got like scratched up at one point. His arms all fucked up, and he's like, "Oh fuck!" And the wife wraps it up. So he starts to turn to the Wolfman. Now they did a lot of cool things with his progression as the Wolfman. They did this thing where it would show the way he is viewing everything from his perspective. Everything is bright. People's eyes have white lights beaming out of them. If everything is blue, which I think is similar like how dogs see in the black and whitish, but it's very lit up in blue, and he can't understand English. English to him sounds like gibberish. He can't understand it, and he can't speak. And he starts transforming. As his teeth comes out, it's very subtle because it's a very humanish Wolfman. He's very human, very mannish, more than wolf, but very wolfish in how he behaves. And mind you, there's an existing Wolfman out there after them who's trying to get in the house. And when they get to the house, the Wolfman's banging on the door. He's trying to get in. So I also like this aspect. They did the classic Night of the Living Dead. We're shut in this house. The monsters are outside trying to get us. But they're in the house with the husband who's turning into the fucking Wolfman. So they did a bunch of cool stuff just off the top, just to kind of speed through. There was a scene where he was scratching his arm with his fucking, once his nail started to grow out, he was like scratching his bloody ass arm and like biting it and shit. That part was cool. You had a little gore. There was a really exciting scene where they try to go out to the truck, and then the Wolfman's chasing them, and they climb up onto this like tarp. It's like a greenhouse, like tarp, plastic tarp, big ass huge tent that they climbed up on a ladder. And the Wolfman's inside, and he's jumping up trying to scratch them through the roof, and the daughter's about to fall through. So then the husband, he runs off and lures the Wolfman away. The wife and daughter get in the house, and there's a part where the daughter's like, "You left daddy out there, he's gonna die to this." So I think the little girl who played the daughter, she did good on that part. That was like a good emotional outburst. Like I said, I think they underwrote the wife, and I think what could have strengthened that was if they would have showed the daughter reconnecting with the mom and reestablishing a bond of security now, because this is the horror of the movie for the family. The dad has become the stable parent who's secure for the daughter, right? They're together every day. He's, stay-at-home dad. He's now infected and turning into a Wolfman. So the parent she looks to for security, he now cannot provide her with that security. So I think they should have showed more of the wife stepping into that role, and her and the daughter reconnecting and that bond being strengthened. They don't really show that. It just happens because the dad's turning into the Wolfman, but they don't really like highlight it, or you know what I mean? So I think that could have strengthened the movie. But it turns out the existing Wolfman that's terrorizing them is the main character's dad, who has been hunting the werewolves out in the woods. I'm assuming maybe the werewolf ate his mom, back in the days, because it was just him and his dad. Maybe the werewolf ate his mom, so he had a vendetta, was hunting the werewolves, got infected. He's now a Wolfman. They did a cool fight between the main character and his dad, the Wolfman versus Wolfman fight, which they also did at the end of the 2010 remake with Benicio del Toro and Anthony Hopkins fighting Wolfman versus Wolfman. You gotta love the classic Wolfman versus Wolfman fight. And then, they tapped into the essence of classic Universal monsters. The way he moved, it was very old school, like Wolfman. Like, I love that. That's what I love the most. It was so classic, like all practical effects, just like the movement. It was real Universal monsters. Really sad, tragic ending. At the end, he kills his dad who got turned into the Wolfman. The main character, the husband, kills his dad who's a Wolfman. They do their fight. He kills him. And then he chases the daughter and the wife out into the woods. They have to climb up into the deer barn again. So the deer barn played, you know, a role throughout this whole movie as a motif. And then at the end, the daughter like did the little mind read thing, and she told the mom, because the mom has the rifle, she said he wants it to be over. And then the wife, and then it's like there's a moment where he's leaning over the wolf barn and they're in it, and the wife's pointing the gun at him, but she doesn't want to do it. And he just grabs the door, starts to open it, and she just shoots. And then he's laying on the ground. Oh, and there was one part where he had to chew off his leg. They got his leg stuck in a bear trap, and he chews off his own leg, and he's running on 3 legs. That part was sick too. So then he's just laying there on the ground with not 3 legs, my bad. He chewed off one of his legs. He had 2 arms and 1 leg. So he's just running on all 3s, you know what I'm saying? So then he died, and he had told them that there was a valley where you could see, and it was beautiful. He wanted the wife and the daughter to see it, and then that's how it ends, with them finally seeing that valley. The dad's dead. It was just great. And then, of course, the subtext was the husband's dad passed on the trauma of the anger and rage to him, which is metaphorically depicted as the werewolf transformation, you know, lycanthropy, werewolfism. It's used as a metaphor for family trauma. And very relevant. It was great. I love the essence of it. I like this was very new and refreshing. Totally, I didn't know what to expect with this movie. It was cool. It was something I myself wouldn't have thought of. A lot of times I'll see movies and I won't like them because I'll think like, oh, I could have thought of that myself, or I would have thought something better. But I just think it was really good. I think it was solid. It was definitely better than I expected. Sometimes Blumhouse does make good movies. Occasionally, like Black Phone I liked. I liked the one with James McAvoy that came out recently, Speak No Evil. I like that one. So sometimes Blumhouse does come out with 1 or 2 of their little movies that aren't stupid as fuck like Megan or these other ones. But yeah, so it was great. I love Wolfman. I hope you guys liked my little Wolfman little skit I did at the beginning of this. I didn't do any sound effects or anything on there. That was literally me. You know, you could hear me like that's just me doing that. But yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoyed Wolfman. I definitely did. I would like to see more werewolf movies. I didn't go see Nosferatu. Just to be honest with you, I liked The Witch. It's a really fucked up movie. I've watched it more than once since I seen it in theaters. When I seen it in theaters, I was like falling in and out of sleep, so I was just kind of like, what the fuck's happening? I think it's a good, very good, like, gothic horror film. That guy, Robert Eggers, he's really good at taking classic mythical motifs and transforming them into a visual way that's like, yeah, that's what the fuck a witch would look like. He did the same thing with The Mermaid on The Lighthouse. I'm not a big fan of The Lighthouse movie. I thought it was going to be more Lovecraftian, and I just wasn't really digging that film. I didn't watch The Northman. I don't like Viking shit. So I haven't really liked anything he's done since The Witch, and Nosferatu to me just looked boring and slow. I heard it was boring and slow and not scary. I didn't want to see it. So I'm probably not even going to watch it. I mean, maybe when it hits streaming, I might give it a try, but yeah, vampires have pretty much been dead ever since Twilight. They haven't really made any kind of good vampire movie since Twilight, just to keep it real with you. I would like to see more of these classic horror motifs coming back, more of this classic monster vibe. I really enjoyed Wolfman. Maybe they'll let this guy do Frankenstein next or something. You know what I mean? But it was really dope. It was really cool. I love horror. Again, like I said, I write horror, dark fantasy, and horror. I have a book series called The Werewolf Man Trilogy. I also released a book last year called Evil Sphere, which is the first book in my new series, Evil Sphere. And yeah. So subscribe, like, comment, share your thoughts on the movie if you've seen it. Any other movies you would like to potentially see me review or talk about. I've seen a lot of movies, so even if you just drop like any kind of movie that's old or something, you know what I mean, drop that shit in the comments and I'll do a fucking video about it. Because there's so much movies I've seen and shit, it's hard for me to pick and to know like what to talk about. Like someone commented on my short of Richie Havens performing Freedom when he opened at Woodstock and improvised Freedom live on stage. Someone commented, I wish somebody would do a video about the backstory of this performance. That was extremely helpful. Thank you to that person. I fucking came out to the garage, fucking did a fucking video about Richie Havens performing at Woodstock and improvising that song. That gave me some more content. And then after that, I was like, because I was putting off doing this Wolfman review, but I was like, fuck it, let me do the Wolfman review. So then I did the little skit, and now I just filmed the review. So, you know, I appreciate anyone who subscribes to the channel, anyone who likes or comments, anything like that. Until next time, as always, stay devious, free minds, all that shit. This is Total Shock Fiction. Peace.
Total Shock Entertainment.